DOA community, welcome back everybody to the channel. This is Robert Linkul, trainingtheolderadult.com. Wednesdays with Robert, episode number 19, my favorite number. And welcome into November. I hope everybody is doing well, and that I hope your November is a fantastic month. This is my favorite month. Did I mention that this is episode 19 and this is November? Did something special happen on November 19th? In 1980, was somebody bald and bearded and beautiful born on that lovely day? Yes, my birthday is coming up this month. I'm very excited for that, be celebrating. But today we are going to talk about bone density issues with our military, how old our average military new candidates are, the issues that they're facing and why, and then what kind of grand scheme effect that's going to kind of have on our whole society and our whole plan here. So let's take a look at this article. This is U.S. military facing epidemic on skinny fat recruits. These are terms that are used in this article. I am not saying this, I'm just reading the article, okay? This is written by Morgan Zagers, and this was October 11th of this year. Okay, let's dive into it. U.S. military has always observed physical fitness standards, but in recent years, officials have been increasingly concerned with the rise in so-called skinny fat recruits. Okay, senior researcher Army Carl Friedler told Washington Street Journal that the Army is particular about facing an onslaught of what they call skinny fat service members who appear physically fit but have low muscle mass and low bone density. We are talking 17 to 25-year-olds that have low muscle mass and low bone density, okay? These people don't look out of shape, but indeed are, because of sedentary lifestyle that has left them with a low muscle mass and a frail bone and connective tissue. Jeez. At Fort Moore in Georgia, new soldiers are given calcium supplements to counter the recent uptick in broken feet and bones in the legs, according to several senior soldiers in charge of training. So these candidates, these rookies coming in, their bones are so soft that while they're training, they're breaking bones in their feet and their legs because their bodies are so deconditioned. They don't have any musculature to support them through this style of training. And then their bones are so soft, they're literally breaking, okay? So what is the answer for the military? Let's give them calcium. Let's give them calcium supplements to see if we can't enrich their bone density from the inside out, which will definitely help, but they should probably be lifting weights, right? That'll help a lot. Several individuals online have commented on the embarrassing nature of this report, noting that the military members are meant to be the strongest and most physically fit members of the nation to act as a natural deterrent against foreign conflict. Currently, each branch of the military has a set of physical fitness standards. I'm going to take you through all those, okay? These members must meet these tests in strength, speed, agility, endurance, and muscle stamina. Though each branch varies slightly on how the tests are conducted, historically, the service members on the heavier side are given an additional test, the measuring tape, okay, or the tape test. The tape test measures a waist circumference and is typically used in conjunction with height to determine a service member's body mass index, their BMI, which is a measurement of a person's excess weight. Now, here's here's what can be wrong with BMI, okay? The military uses it like this. Also, insurance companies use it and healthcare uses it. They do a circumference measurement around your torso, your girth of your chest compared to your waist, right? And there's a standard of measurements there for male, female, every age, every height, you should be a certain BMI. And if you're over that, then you're considered a higher risk of heart failure and disease and deconditionedness. And if you're under that, you're considered malnourished and undermuscled and under bone density and deconditioned, right? So you'd then be like a skinny fat. So the negative to this, or where the BMI can be wrong, is in the case of fit individuals, right? What they look, so let me use myself as an example. I'm 6'3¾". I'm almost six. I used to be 6'4". I'm 6'3¾". Okay, I weigh 245 pounds. For an individual of my size, my height, 6'3½", being 43 years old, 42 years old, turning 43 here in just a few days. Okay, I'm supposed to be 189 pounds, but I'm 245 pounds. So I'm 60 pounds over, okay, almost 60 pounds over the limit for what a healthy BMI is. Now, can you look at me and say, he's probably got a little body fat to lose? Absolutely. But am I 60 pounds over fat? Technically, via their charts, I'm not a little overweight. I'm not obese. I'm morbidly obese, okay? Morbidly obese. Now, we look up any other definition of morbidly obese, it means you have difficulties because your body is so big, you're so overly fat, right? And I'm just saying, I'm not calling anybody anything. I'm just saying your body has so much over fat to it that you can't perform daily tasks like sitting down and standing up, walking without being deconditioned or needing assistance from someone else. Can't get up and down off the floor. You cannot go up and down stairs. You can't clean yourself. You can't feed yourself or dress yourself, okay? When you're so morbidly obese, you have difficulties performing the basic movement requirements of life, okay? Not everybody, but in some cases, that's a component to it. That's what I'm considered based on BMIs. So I think you could look at that and go, well, in this example, for me, I'm not morbidly obese, okay? I'm not obese. Am I overweight? Absolutely, okay? And that's a different thing. That's, to me, overweight is not a negative thing. It means I am over the weight that the BMI chart says I'm supposed to be, which is accurate, okay? But is that due to obesity? No. Is that due to morbid obesity? Absolutely not, okay? I have trained my entire life to carry more muscle mass. So I've been conditioned to be more muscular, right? And again, not a pat on the back. I'm just explaining to you that because of the time and effort I've put in, I have built more musculature. Thus, I'm more dense. Thus, I am heavier and overweight, okay? But in societal terms, overweight means you're too fat. Obese means you're way too fat. Morbidly obese means you're so fat they have to cut the wall to get you out of your house with a forklift, right? That's what everybody else thinks, okay? So when they start going through a BMI chart and they start to discuss those numbers, and if you're over those by 20, 30, 40, 60 pounds, whatever it is, there are opportunities now for you to not be qualified for health insurance, for life insurance, for certain, any other dental health, anything else, any other benefits. You could be flagged or charged more or charged a lot more or be disqualified from certain things, maybe certain jobs. Now, there's certain positions in military where you can't be too big, okay? Like if they wanted me to become a tank driver, right? Could Shaquille O'Neal become a tank driver? I think he actually was, right, when he was in the military. I think that was something he did, but you're 7 foot tall, right? He wanted to be on a submarine. Dude, you can't fit, the beds on the submarine are 5'10", right? So nobody over 5'10" can be in the submarines, or at least this was back in World War II, you know, the Hunt for Red October days, like that kind of, there's standards now, okay? So let's keep that in mind when using BMI. It's actually not a very good one, because ideally the people that are going into the military are going to be semi-fit, or at least we thought they were. And so you may not use BMI as a good indicator, because you might be taking some muscularly fit individuals and saying you're a flag, or you can't come, flag, I said flag. You're a flag, or you cannot come in. You can't be a part of this because you're too heavy, right? Because of something like that. And so that's a concern, right? That's a concern. All right, let's go a little further here. According to the Daily Mail, the high percentage of service members are either too overweight or too weak to serve in the military. Members who qualify are placed on a specialized fitness routine to lose the excess weight or gain muscle mass and strength. Accordingly, the CDC has found that 1/3 of Americans aged 17 to 24, 1/3 of our population, 17 to 24, are too heavy to serve in our military. Now, is that per the BMI chart, okay? Or is it just per the obese or morbidly obese standard of what they're suggesting? Either one, right? We have 1/3 of those, but I would guess, I'm guessing now, how many of those that are disqualified, or it's because they carry too much muscle mass? I'm guessing hardly none would be my guess, okay? Hardly none. I'm sure there are some candidates, like if I were 19 and I decided to go in, I've got a whole bunch of buddies that are more muscled, more fitness-based individuals that are BMI heavy, right? So maybe there is a decent number, but not, the majority of that number, I wouldn't think. Due to circumstances, the Pentagon has decided to implement full body scans in a futuristic machine called BodPod. 2023, the BodPod is futuristic. I'm pretty sure the BodPods have been around for like 15 or 20 years. When was the BodPod developed? Let's see. 1995, the futuristic device that's 30 years old. The BodPod has been around for 30-something years. Assessments of body composition and air displacement, that's the BodPod. Here's the article from 1995. Maybe at that time it was futuristic, yeah, but not now. Assessing the body displacement, plethysmography. I'm sure I crushed that. Since the introduction of the BodPod in 1995, this has been, okay, so this article is from 2004. Even at that point, they'd been using it for 10 years. So maybe some of these standards are a little bit lacking because you think the BodPod is a futuristic device that you just discovered and it's been here for 30 years. Maybe some of our thinking is a little bit old school. Now, keep that thought in mind as we continue to go through some of these strategies. The TPUSA recently reported that 43 of the 8,000 healthy and physically equipped service members who were discharged due to their refusal to take the COVID-19 vaccine have rejoined the military since their dismissal. This has left the branches scrambling to find new recruits while grappling with falling fitness standards of current members. So they can't find new people to replace the 8,000 that they had to let go during the pandemic, okay? And the ones they are trying to get are either deconditioned, under-muscled, or under-bone dense, and they can't survive the training. So then they get into the training, they want them to stay there. They're either putting them through a strength training program where they're using a futuristic BodPod of 35 years to figure out if their levels are improving or not. I'm not dumping on the BodPod. It works great. It does its job. It's just not futuristic. That's been around a long time. You could just do basic, bone density scans and get the result that you want on the bone density, but the BodPod's also going to give you their BMI, their body mass index. It's going to give them ratios of lean muscle mass to pure body fat to bone and organ. It's going to give you hydration. It gives you a whole printout of all kinds of cool stuff. So those are fantastic. My mentor, Jamie, used to own a BodPod and would go around in malls and different high schools and different colleges and such and set up, and he would test everybody. And that was a big part of his business back in the day. So those have been around a long time, okay? All right, so let's look at some of these tests here. This is the Army Physical Fitness Test. Now, I took this live from their website, right? This is up there right now. They have their groups here for male, female, the push-up test, the sit-up test, and the 2-mile run. Now, this has been something that has been used for a very long time. You'll notice the removal of the pull-up is not up there. I don't know if they make mention to that. I don't think I saw it anywhere. Some of the branches still have it. Some made it a muscular hang, or could you just do one, etc. Then it became a more of a muscular test, which I'll show you in a moment, which left me confused here a little. So maybe some of my military subscribers or viewers could help me out here. If this is the current test, is this just to get in, and then the hex bar deadlift and the loaded drag and all that stuff, that's all for placement later on, something like that. There's a secondary test, and I'm going to show you that one, which I love. This one, I'm not a huge fan of. I just don't like push-ups, sit-ups, and running. I get it. These are all protocols that you need to use for the job of being in the military, and that's all fine. It's especially 2 miles in, 16 minutes, that 8-minute miles. I mean, that's respectable, totally doable, I mean, people can definitely do that, but even up as they get a little bit older, it goes up to almost 19 minutes. For the ladies, almost 20 minutes as they get older. So now you're looking at 10-minute miles. I mean, that's, you should be able to maintain that general ability all the way through this, for sure, all the way through your career, for sure. I think there could be something said too for maybe the law enforcement or fire, and sheriffs, EMS, like any of the emergency. You'll see some individuals that are no longer conditioned appropriately to do the job accordingly, right? They kind of make fun of it in the Lethal Weapon movies and some of the other, police and sheriff and detectives. It's like the young gun who just came out of the, the academy. Hey, we got a perpetrator, we got a perp, you got to run him down. And it's like, I'm too old for this shit, I'm going to take the car. And then like Danny Glover gets in the car, right? But then you got Riggs out there like running up the off ramp, chasing, the bad guys. And they're speaking Russian and whatever else, and they're shooting, and he's hanging off the railing of the helicopter, and they get the Cougarans, and they drop into the BMWs, and they're flipping the Cougaran down his knuckles, and I got diplomatic immunity, and they got, all that stuff. It's a great reproduction of Lethal Weapon 2. If you've seen it, I just nailed it, by the way. It's really, really good. Am I standing on plastic? All of a sudden, I'm Australian when I was doing a Lithuanian or Russian, right? Great movie, great movie. Pick them up with your hands. I love that movie. It's so good. Anyway, I got a whole bunch of one-liners. And then Riggs is relocating his shoulder by... Anyway, okay. So that's the stereotype, right? Riggs is running up the off-ramp. Murtaugh, who's out of shape and too old to be a good cop anymore, has to take the car. Or is that young bull, old bull, right? Let's run down there and let's walk down there. Oh, okay. Maybe Murtaugh's just a little smarter. He's taking the car? I don't think so. Okay, the guy's wearing a suit and he's wearing some Brooks Brothers shoes. Murtaugh's got hiking boots on, right? And some jeans and his gun tucked in his back pocket. Who's ready to go do sprints and chase down Cougaran stealing bad guys from Lithuania? I don't think it's Danny Glover, is my point. And I think we see that, okay, tirade over. I think we see that in general, kind of looking at people in the profession. They're not all staying in physical fit shape where they're able to do this stuff. Should that not be a requirement of the job to stay conditioned to be able to do the basics like this? If your life literally depends on your ability to run someone down and or defend other people's honor or life by wrestling and fighting and, doing some jiu-jitsu and choking dudes out, and like, if it always comes down to, well, we're going to have more numbers, versus one individual being in better shape than the other one. If that's part of the criteria of the job, why isn't it always the criteria? Why is it only, for the first 8 weeks or the first 3 months or whatever? And then, well, it's on to you guys. And then on the other side, these are all great questions and things that we could all talk about. But why do the jobs not invest more? Because I know for a fact that the majority of departments don't invest or give them training any further. It's on them as individuals. You're like, oh, you got like Steven Seagal comes in and teaches you all how to do, Taekwondo and Jiu-Jitsu and stuff, right? And they're like, no, if we want to go, learn from Jean-Claude Van Damme, we have to go find John and hire him ourselves, right? Like I'm joking in a way, but if they want further education, they have to go do it. If they want to have further training on anything from firearms all the way through self-defense, conditioning, all that, the departments, for the most part, they don't provide that, They might have a strength and conditioning coach or something like that in some places here and there, fire, if it's, state or if it's county, that kind of thing. Like some of those might have that, but most don't. You have to do it all on your own. So I think that's why the standards drop, right? But they don't want to get rid of people because they're not physically fit. Well, if we're doing that with what do they call people when they're not in the military? If you're doing that with, why am I blanking on that word? Anyway, people are not in the military. Civilians, geez. Okay, if they're doing that with civilians who are working in the police and fire and EMS and all this, why is that standard any less for our military? I don't know if it is. I think that should kind of carry over, right? And why would military not make great candidates to work in these other fields? They should, right? Some do, but there should be carry on steps. Anyway, we're looking at all kinds of other issues. I'm getting too deep because this is a passionate thing. I am so pro our military and taking care of these people, however you stand for whatever they do. And you can be on either side of the fence, whatever. The people that are out there willing to put their lives on the line for us, whatever our opinions on, you got to respect those people, in my opinion. So I always support military, whatever branch, whatever it is. Okay, it's that those folks are willing to go over there, and not that I wasn't. I had signed my Army papers and I was ready to go, right? And I got a job opportunity and I decided to stay here. However, if there were a need for me, even at the age that I'm at now, I would go. I 100% would. I admire my grandpa. I admire my dad. These are individuals who signed up to serve and went and did this. If my country needed me, if my family needed me to defend them in that way, I would go and do that, right? But at 43, with 2 hip replacements and a couple of other health flags on my chart, maybe I'm not getting that phone call anytime from our Department of Justice and our Department of Defense. Okay. So here's the old, let me get back on topic here. I'm ranting a bit today, but I'm having fun. I hope you're enjoying. All right. The old AP, that was the fitness testing, okay? The Army physical fitness testing. For the last 40 years, they did 3 tests. Number of push-ups you can do in 2 minutes, number of sit-ups you can do in 2 minutes, and the time that it takes you to do a 2-mile run, okay? That was pretty much it. And then they had some pull-ups in there, I think, at some point, but not anymore. So here's what it is now. Maximum deadlift, which I love, and they use the hex bar, and I'm going to show you some badass hex bar deadlifting here in just a moment, okay? So it's a maximum deadlift. It's a 3-rep max, which is even better in my opinion because there's a little bit of a muscular endurance component to it, but it's mostly muscular strength efforts. I want to see how dense and how strong you are. This can definitely help this bone density issue with people as they train to get up to the standard to be able to do this. And now there isn't like a pass or fail necessarily other than maybe a minimum, but beyond that, it's just the better you do, the higher your ranking will go. And so I spoke to a couple people in the military. It's like the better you do on each one of these, the higher success you'll have of entering in at a different rank or a different pay rate or something along those lines. So they want to score and perform well on all these. You don't want to just make the minimum and then be like, I'm good. Okay. So it's a maximum deadlift, 3-rep max, not a single, which has a lot of higher risks of injury rate than if you're training for multiple reps. A standing power throw. This is with a rubber shot put. And I didn't get to see weights on that one, and I didn't take any more pictures necessarily of each one. I don't think. No, I go to Navy next. But it's a rubber ball. It's a rubber shot put, and they make it rubber with sand and shot in it, so when it hits the ground, it won't do damage like if a steel or a brass one. And then they can throw it between their legs forward, or they can jump chest pass it. They could try to overhead throw it, I guess, if they want. That's going to hurt. But any kind of power through, they just want to see how explosive you are. Typically, it's reach down between your knees and then chuck it as far as you can, right? So they do that one. A hand release push-up, that's where you're going to pop your hands off the floor. So it's like a clapping push-up without the clap. You just pop your hands off the ground and then go right back down. Hand release, I like that. And then there's a sprint, drag, and carry event. So they have to sprint a certain distance, drag something, and then they have to pick up something and carry it. And then there's 5 rounds of that, and each one it kind of changes. I think it was like a 50, 40, 30, 40, 50 distance. Like there was some taper, something like that. Don't quote me. But there were some tapering changes in distance and load that they carried and drug, etc. Then knee tucks, you're hanging from a bar and you're pulling your knees up and touching your elbows. Okay, so there's kind of an abdominal test, but in a safer, healthier way than the sit-up, I guess. I'm, again, never a huge fan of bringing my sternum towards my pelvis because I feel like we're over-abusing the hip flexors and just addressing more stress in the lumbar and the back. However, you need to have some core strength, and we have to have a way to test it. One of the other ones we're going to look at here in a minute, they utilize a plank variation of it, which I think is good. But how dynamic is that? Everything could have an argument made for it. And then you have your 2-mile run, okay? All right, looking at the Navy, okay, their Navy has a minimum physical fitness requirement to join the Navy. Okay, one of these, they just had it kind of written out. All right, here's Navy. Okay, so for the SEALs, they have a 500-yard swim. They're allowed 12 minutes and 30 seconds to do that. They must complete 42 push-ups in 2 minutes, very doable. So that's one every 2.5 seconds, something like that. Sit-ups, you must complete 52 in 2 minutes. So that's one every 2.1 seconds. I mean, almost basically one every other second. And then pull-ups, here you go. Pull-ups, you must complete at least 8 pull-ups without touching the ground or letting go of the bar. Now, I'm assuming as well this means you have to go to a complete full hang and stop your momentum and then go, but it does not say male or female. So well, are females allowed in the SEALs? I don't know. I mean, I know women are allowed in other branches of the military. Are they allowed in the SEALs? Let's ask. Let's ask here real quick. We're doing this live together. Are women allowed in the Navy SEALs? Let's go there. Are women capable of becoming Navy SEALs? Yes. Here are some qualifications for both men and women. Okay. Well, here we go. There's the answer. Let's see. This was in 2021, this article as it comes up. And then you have the 1.5 mile run. They give you 11 minutes and 30 seconds. So that's like a 6-minute pace. That's fast. Wow, that's fast. Yeah, if you were going to do 6, it would be 12 minutes if you had to do 2 miles, right? So, yeah, it's like it's a little bit slower than that. Okay, are women capable of becoming SEALs? Yes. Here are some of the qualifications for both women and men. Their eyesight has to be 20/40. Oh my goodness. Minimum standards for armed combatants. There's a whole bunch of acronyms and such. I think these are different weapons. They have to be able to handle 28 years of age or younger. Pass a physical fitness test that includes driving. Oh, diving for divers. Driving. Have to have a valid driver's license and CPR. Okay. 20 push-ups in 2 minutes, 54 curl-ups in 2 minutes, and a 1.5 mile run in 18. That's physical fitness for the SEALs? That's the one for the Army. Okay. Oh, so that's basic boot camp. All right. SEAL training, 7 weeks. Oh, boy. There's a whole list of stuff here. I'm female. Where do I sign up? Well, again, it didn't give me the numbers. I wanted to see the numbers. If the women had, well, at least we know women can become SEALs. Okay. They have for at least 2 years since 2021. But I was wondering, like, are the pull-up standards the same? Are the push-up standards the same? To do this job, right, to do the demands of it, I would suggest everybody's got to be able to do the same thing. You've got to be able to pick up 250 pounds, right? Because I think that's the heaviest a SEAL can be is 250 or 240. So you got to be able to pick them up and drag them off the field. That's part of this is no man left behind, no woman left behind, right? So you're going to have some muscles, etc. All right, and then here's the SWCC, the Special Warfare Combatant Craft Crewmen. Wow, that's a tough acronym. They have the swim, they have 50 push-ups in 2 minutes, they have 50 sit-ups in 2 minutes, complete at least 6 pull-ups without touching the ground, and then you get 12 minutes for your 1.5 mile run. So, all right. I mean, these are tough, high standards, okay? Going through here. Here's for the Marines, and they had pull up, they have the time plank, there you go, and then they have a 3-mile run. Curry, they're going up and down the hill, right? I love that. Pull-ups, push-ups are essential to building upper body strength necessary to win battles. Planks are critical to maintaining a strong core and being battle ready at a moment's notice. You never know when you might have to hold a push-up position while under fire. I'm just being a jerk now, but you kind of get what I'm talking about, right? Maybe a bear crawl. You got a bear crawl like 200 meters. Could you imagine bear crawling a football field, right? Talk about core strength, but also conditioning. That would be something. If you could bear crawl 100 meters, okay, 100 yards. Let's keep it American. 100 yards, football field. I think that's going to take you at least a minute, right? Unless you're just going, right? Then let's say 35, 40 seconds. But how long is the plank? We're going to plank for a minute, 2 minutes. What's the criteria? Is there a cutoff for that, right? I'm assuming it's not going to be more than 3 minutes, 5 minutes maybe at the most if you really want to find some studs. Anyway, complete 3-mile run in 28 minutes or less. So 28, that's 8, 16, 24. So that's 9 minute miles. Okay. 9, 18, 20. So yeah, that's just right around 9 minutes a mile. So that's good. Females must complete the 3-mile run in 31 minutes or less. Why do women get 3 more minutes on that when women are typically better conditioned athletes? Did you know that? Did you know that women have a higher pain tolerance for threshold conditioning, VO2 maxes, etc.? That's why there are predictions that the women's marathon world record will beat the men's marathon world record someday. There are predictions for that. Women just haven't had enough time to train, right? Not one individual. I'm talking generations of women, right, that are going to run and condition themselves for this. Huh, that's interesting. All right. Well, so we could talk about this one forever. I'm already 30 minutes in, but this is pretty interesting stuff, and it lends to a lot of preparation, strategy, and programming. But all of this, like these standards, if people are training and prepping for any of these that we just put up there, and you're putting in at least 8 weeks, you should have a muscular density to your body that is prepped and ready to do the basics of boot camp and not have bones in your body break. You know, I wonder if people are just not preparing, and they're like, boot camp will get me in shape, I'll deal with it when I get there, and they're just showing up, maybe like that Special Forces show with all the celebrities where it was quite obvious none of them trained except for Dwight Howard and the Cowboys wide receiver, I forget his name. Other than those two, you know, actually the wide receiver for the Patriots, Danny Amendola, he was pretty fit. There were like 4 out of the 25 people in the 2 seasons that came in semi-conditioned and ready to do things. Everybody else, you know, looked pretty out of it. Jack Osborne, he looked fairly fit too. Boy, the last time I saw a guy, he was like 13 with a big, huge head of hair and his dorky glasses, and his dad's Sharon, you know, Ozzy's yelling at him, yelling. And that kid's like, whatever you say, Dad. You know, that's the last time I saw him. So when I saw him on that show, I'm like, bro, it's come a long way. He's definitely grown up a little bit. I haven't seen him in 20 years. So he's definitely grown up. Anyhow, all right, before we wrap, I want to show you this last little bit. This is one of the most exciting things I have seen on the internet, on social media, anywhere. My friend, I'm going to call him my friend because I'm a huge friend.
Good or not?
This is Sean McEnroy, his mom, okay, doing deadlifts. So I'm going to give you this little series of this. We'll listen to this together and check this out. All right, everybody ready? Here we go.
She's busted open the belt. Too many cakes, Mum. Too many cakes. Well done. More sets.
Okay, so what just happened here on this one? She was doing like 125 kilos, which I'm not going to tell you how heavy that is just yet. Okay, she was doing 125 kilos, and I think she did, like 8 reps. She was going for 10, and then the belt breaks open. And so a 125 times 2.2 is 275 pounds, okay, which is pretty freaking amazing. Let's continue.
To do. Everyone's favorite internet strong mum, my mum, is back once again to be her ever impressive self. How are we doing today, Mum?
Good, good.
Now on the bar today, we have 130 kilograms. What's in the tank today?
Oh, maybe 4.
What if we add more weight to the bar? What do you reckon?
I don't know. I don't know.
That question was to suggest the illusion of choice. We're adding 10 kilos to the bar. What she didn't realize I was doing as I was setting this weight up, that this was the plan all along. We now have 140.
Adding more weight on the spot. Once the camera's already on, now he's going to throw on an extra 10, 20 kilos, whatever he said there. So we're now getting close to 286 pounds, okay? 286 pounds.
Kilograms on the bar. How many reps we going to do?
You've got that hand?
Oh, Jesus. How many reps we got, Mum? Come on. Come on. Shitting yourself is acceptable. Not encouraged, but it is what it is to get us a...
The little shake and the slap, all that's called doing the right thing. That's supposed to fire up the lifter. And so sometimes you'll see people smacking each other on the back. They smack their face, or they shake each other around. They slap their thighs. It's to get a response when you have that pain receptor to your skin. It's like, ow, that really hurt. There's the fight or flight, adrenaline pump. Some people buckle under that. And they're like, you hit me. And then others are like, oh, you hit me. And now, oh, I'm ready to go. And they're like, channel that into the bar. Okay, here we go.
Cross the line. Let's go. Yep. Yep. Oh, easy. I dare you to do it again. A double dare. Yep. Oh, look at her go. Yeah, baby. How was that?
Good. Yeah, not too bad.
Ice in her veins, this woman. 140 kilograms for 2 reps. Her response, oh, good. Not bad. Jeez Louise. Nice one.
I feel bad for his dad, because the dad comes on and he lifts and he doesn't lift as much as mom. I don't know if he has a history of, injuries or something, but watch this next one. This one he just posted today. This is so cool.
Come on. Oh, come on. This may be the very last video you see of me and my mother, because either this weight is going to kill her or she's dead to me if she doesn't get it done. You got it?
Okay.
You got it? You got it?
I
You got it?
I got it.
Fucking let's go, woman. Take your time. Let's be aggressive. New all-time PB. Let's go. Yep. Come on. Woo! Yeah.
How about that? Did anybody happen to hear how much that was? That was 152.5 kilos times 2.2 is 335 and a half pounds. 64 years old, and she just did a single at 335. My hero. This lady, I mean, she's in there every week working hard. Look at her. Like, she's just a normal looking, very, very fit, but normal looking 64-year-old woman who is not over fat, is obviously extremely strong, trains often, committed to this, comfortable in lifting, wearing a weight belt, barefoot, doing her deadlifts, has pretty damn good technique. A tiny little bit round in the shoulder, but it's a great acceptable deadlift. 335 pounds. That blew my mind when I saw that. I'm so proud, because anytime you get clients that are like, well, I don't know if I'm ready for the 16-kilo kettlebell. You may not be, but you should be able to do that. You can capably do that. Don't let fear be a dictator for taking you away, a deterrent for taking you away from pursuing a goal like this, because you think you might get hurt. Trust your coach. Her son is an excellent coach. He knows that she can do that. That's why he's asking her to lift it. He doesn't hope that she can lift it. We don't hope lift, we know lift, K-N-O-W. I know you can do this, because all the other numbers of everything that you have done for me, you did 10 with this weight, you did 8 with that weight, you did 6 with this one, with 4 with that one, then I know exactly how many you can do with 2 at this weight. And that's what's occurred. He doesn't get on there and go, let's turn on the camera and hopefully she just pulls this one out magically somewhere. He knows she can do that lift. And she crushes it, crushes it. Such a good looking lift. I'm so inspired and so happy that we have individuals like this being featured on the internet to let older individuals know you can lift hundreds of pounds, right? Hundreds of pounds, and you're gonna be great. Think of how good her bone density is because of training like this. All right, almost 40 minutes. This was a long one today. I hope you enjoyed it. I wanted to touch on the bone density components and look into this thing a little bit deeper, maybe a little bit outside my area of expertise into the military and such, obviously, but I have had some experiences. I've worked with sheriffs, with firefighters, with police department. I've had some experience in the tactical field, a little bit here and there, nothing on a permanent career choice by any means, but great coaches like Jay Dawes, Lauren Landau, John Hoffman, some great individuals that I've learned from over the years. So I know a bit about it and what definitely programming goes in to helping prep for that. We shouldn't have a bone density issue. We shouldn't have an under-muscled issue when people are reporting to go into basics and reporting to go through the training process to become this. They should be conditioned and ready for this beforehand. However, it shows that our societal norms of what younger, youthful people are doing nowadays, it's not preparing them to do physical actions like this. Even in these cases, which I know that a lot of the standards in the boot camps have come way down to be able to progress people up slower, because if they hit them too hard from the get-go, they damage them and everybody drops out then. So they've had to actually regress it and walk it back a little, but still ending up with them at a very high level. But it's, they've used to be able to start at a 6 and end at a 10. Now they have to start at a 2 and take extra time to build them up to a 6 that eventually leads them to a 10. And now we're seeing enough of an issue where articles are being written and statements are being made about the skinny fat nature of our youth and how they have to take calcium to help increase their bone density. Come on. Eat healthy, get off the couch, start rucking, start walking, start lifting weights 2 to 3 days a week, ruck 2 to 3 days a week. Take this serious. This is a career choice you're pursuing, but most importantly, it's your health. And taking care of your health now at any age, wherever you're at, moving forward is only going to do one thing for you. It's going to improve your quality of life. That's guaranteed. I'm Robert Linkul, trainingtheolderadult.com. I hope you enjoyed today. Please subscribe, ring the bell, make sure you don't miss any of the content we put up. Feel free to share any of this information, any of my videos with any of the other people. Help us grow our community. I much appreciate you. And until next time, continue to fight your good fight against sarcopenia. Peace.